Sama resign, we didn't hear anything. If he's here now, they will have tribal sentiment and everything sentiment. They will, in fact, the people that are chopping from the guy in government will tell him that you dare not resign. We'll kill you if you resign. A man resigned now, was talking about, I want to spend time with my family. Here, they're not they resign when they do bad. They're not they resign when they can't stop insecurity. So that's the kind of country we live in. So is it today you've been hearing crises and killings and shootings in, what's it called? In Osun? Just because Adeleke does not align with the center. That's just, it's another party. The center is different. If Adeleke was in the center party, the APC, the case will be different. And please, I want to sound a note of warning. We remember what happened the first time to Adeleke, where the man was already winning the election. All of a sudden, they declared inconclusive and the election results did somehow. We remember that case. Please, hope will not have inconclusive this time. Because we all know the man is popular. All of a sudden, there's so much chaos. They fought the man first over local government issues. The same people that were champion of local government, they started to do aberration with local government funds. Hope they are going to allow the man breathe, because we are seeing all of this insecurity and it's linked to political thuggery. Hope they will allow the man breathe. Hope we will not hear inconclusive again, because remember the day and era of inconclusive. Just because people want to win election. So you can see the high-handedness. People were talking about somebody wearing INEC. Does as INEC be able to answer integrity questions at first about Emeka Ike's, what's it called? Data. Has anybody even taken INEC to court? INEC just say, oh, we said there's an internal glitch. Oh, we are not going to have major internal glitch. So you are saying somebody is wearing INEC jacket. Before you know, they will come out now and say it's AI. They say they will come out and say it's doctored reports. Before you know, they will gaslight you in this country. All right. So until we get a response from INEC or we get a response for the participant dramatist president, this politics you are playing today is cruise. I will tell it to you.
All right.
Meanwhile, okay, now the rivalry between the Oyo State Police Command and Igboho, I think it doesn't make sense. Because in various statements, the federal government of Nigeria and the security chiefs, they've always called for collaboration. They've always said, see something, say something. So I don't think there should be rivalry. If Igboho is going to, work hand in hand with them, what is important is the result. Yes. Now they are talking about Igboho. Nobody is talking about the people that were rescued. Yes. And then about the coincidence. Igboho gave ultimatum 2 hours. And then within 2 hours, the persons who were kidnapped had been released. It appeared that by what alchemy that happened, I think that coincidence is instructive. Right. The police should focus more on serious work rather than rivalry with non-state actors.
Once they mention Igboho like this, the Oyo State Police Command will be just again. You remember the case? You remember the case of the Adelabu kids, where Igboho played a role. But that was how the man was denied. Didn't they write a report and say, no, he didn't do anything at Ribasi? But those that know, they know that Igboho played a role in the case of the release of those Adelabu kids. But police, Igboho.
No, the families that are affected don't care. All they want is to see their children, their family members back. All these back and forth is very unnecessary.
All right, we do applaud Igboho's efforts right now. And, we're all calling as sources who spoke to his wife, Hajia Amina, while she was receiving treatment at the Federal Medical Center in Katsina, have revealed a devastating account of what the couple endured in captivity. The sources say Hajia Amina told them her husband died in her arms in the forest, and that contrary to the Katsina state government's account, he had no history of diabetes or hypertension, but died from a snake bite. Shortly after the general's death, the bandits became extremely agitated, mounted her on a motorcycle and fled before shooting her in the leg and abandoning her. She was later discovered by a good Samaritan before troops arrived and found her lying in a pool of blood.
So it was not that they rescued her.
No, they found these are the conversations. People will speak. There is eyewitness account, and there are people that have been, involved in this, heinous crimes. They will speak. So, at this moment, I do believe that we have to call the Katsina state government to question why. Why did they release that statement saying that, the man died of diabetes and hypertension? Well, meanwhile, in Kwara State, a viral video of a police officer lamenting that the once busy community of Owa Onire is now completely deserted, with residents having fled in terror. This video is shocking social media. Let's take a look.
See where we do. Nobody did in this town again. The people in this town, all of them, they have run away. Kidnapper don't pursue them from this village. This is my first time to marry with kidnapper pursuing your crown. Is anybody to want Lumo? Loot it down. Somebody to want Lumo. Nobody did town again.
I mean, and into this climate of fear, controversial cleric Sheikh Ahmad Gumi has emerged with a new viral clip questioning why armed groups are labeled bandits when they are open to government dialogue, arguing for negotiation over military force. Let's take a look.
Push them into that terror beyond what they are doing now, because yes, it can get worse. They have shown us their willingness to negotiate. So people that are ready to negotiate, why are you rushing to just declare them bandits so that you can use whatever weapons you want? Before, they used to catch Boko Haram and present them to the authorities in Zamfara. But now they're all terrorists. Secondly, the only door that remains, that is we clergy, to go in and negotiate with them, is closed down permanently.
Conversations are divided. Sheikh Gumi's comments here continue to sharply divide Nigerians, with many insisting that those responsible for killing a general in a forest, shooting his wife, and emptying entire communities of their residents must face the full wrath of the law and not a negotiating table. I'd like for you, Ayo, to tie in all stories together. I mean, we saw the video in Kwara State, shocking video. Rufai was saying, thank God it is the police that, recorded this actual footage, and so they won't say it was done.
Let me say that. I mean, that Sheikh Gumi video, even if it's not, you can see his mouth, I'm trying to ascertain, but he has made these kinds of suggestions. At this point, we need to acknowledge the fact that this is a state of war, and you have to be very, very adamant that you want to eliminate any trace of this so-called terrorist bandits, and any sympathizer to bandits ought to be called in for questioning. We saw the other day, we heard people that were persecuted and sentenced for being accessory to the crime. Those who were whether supplying the bandits with food, the terrorists with food, those who had telephones of the bandits with them. I think those who are also speaking up for these bandits and who seem to be the spokespeople or the mouthpieces of these bandits ought to be called in for questioning. You are talking about families whose lives have been affected in such a way that they might, it would take a lot for them to recover. How do you expect Hajia Amina Abubakar to recover from the experience of having held her husband dying in her arms in a situation that could have been salvaged? How do you explain to their children? And then you have someone who has the audacity to come out and say that, they are coming to do it. No. The Nigerian state must demonstrate the monopoly of power and force in this regard. We are asking now that those who are criminals and are killing people for no just reason, they are not fighting for any cause, there's nothing that they are advocating for, just the fact that they are greedy, they are wicked, and they are inhumane. And they ought to be shown an example by prosecuting them, and where possible, the full wrath of the law on them. And I think a lot of people who are saying have also opined in this favor that we do not need any more mollycoddling, come out, let's talk, let's negotiate. They have not shown good faith, and they have thrown a lot of Nigerians into disarray. Now, talking about Katsina State government, from the very beginning, I recall that when Hajia Abubakar was released, we said that she has a lot to say, because if there's anyone who can give a true account of what actually happened, this is the woman. And I'm glad that she's now finally speaking up. We keep saying about trust deficit and trust the government, so people are saying against. How would they trust you if people cannot trust what you're saying? Why was the Katsina State government in a hurry to release a statement? I understand, trying to manage the situation, it's very sensitive because of the caliber of person involved, but we also owe either not say anything or owe the truth to the people or not say anything at all, because it further erodes the trust of the people with the government agencies and people who are speaking up. What we're now calling for is that these criminals to be fished out, and these criminals to face the full wrath of the law, and that Hajia and her children should please receive psychosocial support.
Please.
They need to receive some kind of support that's funded by government because of this sad loss. We commiserate with them, we commiserate with the army, members of the armed forces who have lost one of their own as well. But the biggest way we can demonstrate commiseration and seriousness is to ensure that we fish out these killers and that they actually face the full wrath of the law. And then finally, in the choir community, in my mind, I was going to say, if you were you, Oji, would you not run? If the state has shown that they are not able, at least at this point, to secure license, will you not take matters into your own hands?
Absolutely, that's what a lot of communities are having to go through now.
We talk about internally displaced people who have not yet gone back to their settlement. Now we're getting more and more people who are displaced. Where will they go to? What life do they have? Will these people not be enticed into a life of more criminality? It's a cycle. And that is why we keep on, like I echo, every single day.
Absolutely.
We need to find a solution to this criminality, and it is not through negotiations or rehabilitation or reintegration.
Well said, Ayo.